Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm CJ.
And I'm Chip.
And today we've got a great show for you. We've had a very interesting week, and we're taping right at the ending of our mayor's press conference regarding an agreement that has been signed with for Foxwoods Casino. This is going to be very interesting. It seems this is the biannual casino run that we always have. Another design for failure, I guess this is going to be. It's very interesting because what people forget is that there are 4 full casino licenses in the Commonwealth. 3 of them are already accounted for. The only one that's not accounted for is the one here in the South Coast. And that one has been promised pending BIA, which is the Board of Indian Affairs approval for the Mashpee Wampanoag Indians, which would be in Taunton. But for some reason, the mayor wanted to jump on ship and sign a contract with Crossroads to see if we could get a casino here in Fall River. I really don't know if that's going to happen. It's going to be very interesting to see. You know, a lot of people are against this. I applaud the mayor, but to call this a blueprint for success for the rest of the Commonwealth to follow on how to get a casino in your community, I think is really overstepping what you're trying to do. And also, I think you're inflating your own ego, Mr. Mayor. I think it's time that you stop putting your ego behind you and you start putting the needs of Fall River ahead of what your wants are. What do you think about this casino job? Chip, you looking for that job?
Well, we all know that we've gone this casino route many times, and as you said, CJ, the fact is that there are 4 licenses being given out and only 1 for Southeastern Mass, and 1 has already been promised. The other factor is that the mayor seems to very conveniently ignore is the fact that it's a state-issued license, and the fact is the head of our state delegation, our state senator, is opposed to gambling, casino gambling. So I don't know how hard he's going to work to get this through if we had a chance. And even if we did get the casino, it's not the panacea for everything. I know people are opposed, people are in favor, but the fact is it will bring jobs to the community. The gambling aspect, well, you know, the reality we have is that somebody can walk down to the corner store in Fall River and spend their entire paycheck on scratch tickets. If you're really that opposed to gambling, we should eliminate all forms of gambling in this city and the state. The fact is, we can at least get jobs. But are we going to get jobs? Are we going to get this casino? If this was on a gambling table, the odds would probably be 10 to 1 that we're going to get this against us getting it.
Yeah, I believe the 10 to 1 against. And, you know, I can understand the reason why the mayor would want to get a casino. It's the host fees. Those host fees can really fill the shortfalls in a budget and can help move the city out of financial disaster. Oh, wait a minute. Did I say that? So, yes, we want to do that. And people are going to say we're being negative about this, but we're not being negative. We're being quite real, because what has to happen here is, first off, the LLC has to find a location to place this casino. Now, my inside sources tell me that several locations have already been identified. Even though the mayor has formed today a siting committee, which was the biggest joke in the world. It consists of Rob Mellion, Ken Fiola, the Vice President of the Fall River Office of Economic Disaster, Carl Garcia from, I guess that's Carl's Collision Center. And it makes me wonder, you know, why were these people chosen? Well, one of the reasons is one of the properties being looked at is Dan Bogan's property. Former mayor, former city council president, former city councilor. He has a property that he's cleaned up quite well, and he was actually going to try to sell it to the city at one point to use for the combined sewer overflow. And they need 30 to 70 acres. So you're looking at a large parcel of land for this. Now, another area that they're looking at is supposedly somewhere up in the industrial park in the airport section. Part of it even being part of the dump. Just what I want is a hotel room overlooking Mount Trashmore. Sounds like a great time to me. And then you've always got Weaver's Cove. So these are three areas right off the bat that people are pointing their fingers at, saying these are possible locations. But again, think about that. Not only do you have to get that done, now you've got to have a special election. You've got to have a ballot to approve or deny the casino. Now, Milford did this, and that's where this company comes from, because this company tried to put a casino in Milford. Once they failed the ballot portion, they came here to Fall River. And these companies look at communities, for the most part, that are in dire financial straits, that are in dire need of jobs, that are in dire needs of an economic boost. And Fall River is perfect for the pickings of any type of company like this. So let's say, for the sake of argument, we get past the ballot and we say yes to it. Now we got to go to the state. Ha-ha, here's where the problem lies. You've got one license already promised to the Mashpee Wampanoags, pending BIA approval. And you've got another community saying, we want it. And you have other communities who say they want it. And there are lawsuits pending saying that the law is illegal because they've restricted the license to Indian tribes only. So you're looking at 3 to 5 years of lawsuits, not only from outside sources such as cities and towns and companies, but also internally right here in Fall River from neighborhood groups who don't want the casino in their backyard, because we all know Fall River is a NIMBY community, not in my backyard. So we're going to fight this tooth and nail no matter how much we like it. There's got to be somebody who's going to fight it. So do we want to create civil unrest for a casino? It's amazing. But I think the one big point that everyone has forgotten here, it is not government's job to create jobs. It is not government's job to create jobs. That's a message that for some reason the mayor and the city council can't get through their heads. It is your job to make the environment amenable to businesses coming here. The businesses, the private sector, create the jobs. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. And the other factor is, and we're gonna give a little alternate perspective here, is that could this be, because I'm sure that everyone, well, maybe not the mayor, but almost everyone knows that this, even if it goes forward, will take years, just as everything the mayor promises does. It's always down the road, and down the road quite a ways, and that road never seems to come to an end. But could this be, and I'm posing this question to you, CJ, for your comment, could this be a diversionary tactic? Because we're announcing about the casino, and we talk about the money it'll bring in and the jobs, and everybody's gets focused on the casino. But at tonight's city council meeting, they're talking about increasing sewer fees, water fees. The mayor has now, we've heard from our sources, that now we're talking about pay as you throw, which, if my memory serves me correctly, the mayor during the mayoral debate said categorically that was off the table. It wasn't a consideration. And now I have heard from reliable sources that the committee for the landfill has been disbanded, that committee that virtually never met and was another window dressing. The new city administrator and the mayor have now put it in the hands of a city council subcommittee, and they're going to deal with pay as you throw. So the reality is, again, the beleaguered taxpayers of the city of Fall River are looking at bonding and increases in water fees and pay as you throw and more and more and more. And before I turn it over to you for your comment, I'm going to say, for everybody out there, I am sick and tired of hearing the city council, and I told a few city councils that this morning when I spoke to them. I am sick and tired of them saying that Don't complain, you have the lowest tax rate in the Commonwealth, one of the lowest tax rates in the Commonwealth. We don't, people. Compare the income and the ratio of our income to our tax rate, and we're one of the highest communities in the state. For example, the average income in Newton's $109,000, the household average. These are the U.S. Bureau of Census Statistics, by the way, and these we use in a presentation I made before the City Council, before the budget. And at the time, the Fall River income, household average, was $34,000. So that's about 3 times more. And I don't think Newton's taxes are 3 times more than ours.
No,
I
they're
think
not.
if we take how much we pay for our homes and increase all these little add-ons, which are hidden taxes, like pay-as-you-throw, water meter fees. That's the cost of owning a home. They're hidden taxes. I have challenged a few of the city councilors to have a ratio and proportion of income to tax rate done, and I am betting, without the casino, that we will be one of the highest in the state.
Oh, I'm sure we will be. And one of the things that I think is important to note is that, as you said, and we brought this up on this show, is that the Waste Committee meeting, or whatever they wanted to call themselves, really and truly never really met. Their last meeting was in the fall of 2012. I mean, that's over a year ago. And they came up with no options and nothing. City Councilor Mike Mioza stated very clearly that it is not up to the City Council to propose a solution to this, that it's up to the mayor to propose it and the City Council to dispose of it, and he's correct. And the mayor said in his bid for office, which you, the people of Fall River who voted for him, believed his line of lies and bull, said that pay-as-you-throw is off the table. But now all of a sudden, it's coming out of his office that pay-as-you-throw is on the table. Privatizing DCM, which he also told the DCM employees when he bought them those beautiful boots during the election cycle, that, you know, we're not looking at privatizing DCM. Yes, he is. And it's come out of his office yesterday, the privatization of DCM, which, by the way, the city of New Bedford has done. And they're now looking at increases in their waste management fees. So we have to look at this and we have to say, what are we doing? You know, where are we going? And in one of our future shows, we're going to be looking at the city of New Bedford compared to the city of Fall River and the budgets, and why are things so different in New Bedford than Fall River, and why are things in such better condition? Because we have to look at that. But on to another major topic that we have here, and that is we had a major fire on Route 24 here yesterday for us, for our taping. And I believe our city fire department did the best job that they could do with the equipment they had. Each of our fire trucks has on board 50 gallons of Class B foam. Now, Class B foam is what is known as triple F. And it's not the heavy-duty foam, the foam that is really thick and heavy and can put this stuff out. And I'm going to let Chip talk more about that. But at one time in the history of our city, we had an engine 6, which had a foam. It used to have a foam hose, not instead of a regular water hose on it. You know, it had a huge foam hose, and we don't have that anymore. And when I spoke to the Fire Command Center press office yesterday, and I asked them, they said, oh no, we don't have one any longer. That's handled regionally now by Bristol County. And we called out immediately to Somerset and New Bedford to have them bring their foam trucks in, and then they handle putting the foam on. That seems a little questionable to me when we have huge trucks of liquid propane driving through our city, driving through residential districts, and huge tanker trucks driving through with gasoline. I mean, it seems to be, you know, an explosion and a disaster waiting to happen, especially in a city so tightly packed like Fall River. Chip, you've been a deputy chief and, district chief, and you know what this is like. I mean, can you tell us, what do you think about this?
Yes, it is more, it's more kind of really not addressing the issue. The fact is that we still do have that engine. Actually, I checked yesterday with an active firefighter and said that that engine is still here, still has the capability of applying Class A foam to a fire. And the agency he's talking about is not a mutual aid agency, which we help each other in firefighting capabilities, which is kind of ludicrous when you think that the town of Somerset is going to help Fall River when we have 10 times the size of our department. We should have more equipment. The fact is that it's a regional hazmat team, and that's for hazardous materials incidents and mitigations of hazardous materials, not to give us basic firefighting tools. Class A foam was always part of the Fall River Fire Department. It is no longer there, and the question has to be asked, why? The fact is that every hazardous materials truck, and what a lot of people don't realize is that we have trucks carrying LNG, gasoline, and other hazardous materials through the city every single day. And there are more accidents with transportation of these materials than on site. And the reality of that is that these are all diverted through neighborhoods because they can't come under the government center on 195 either way. So they have to be diverted through neighborhoods. There are specific hazardous materials routes that they have to follow. However, they are within the city limits. The fact is they're not diverted into Somerset, they're diverted through Fall River from the major arteries, 24 and 195. So the question has to be asked, why don't we continue to have the firefighting capability to deal with it? Do we have to wait to make a call to another community? If this thing would have happened on Duval Street or on Columbia Street or on Milliken Boulevard, and these trucks have been known to get mixed up, especially with new construction as we have down there, and actually lose the route and get in places they're even not supposed to be, and even the routes they are still bordering and in residential areas. The fact is, why don't we have Class A foam? We should have Class A foam because we have an engine capable of applying it to a fire. We are paying for fire protection in this city, not to create new supervisory positions and subsidize with federal money. We're paying our taxes to be protected. Our fire department is one of the best around. I can tell you that. They're well trained. They know what they're doing. But if you don't have the tools, you can't do the job. And that's the bottom line. And the question has to be asked, why don't we have the tools? Stop being an addition. They think we're all dumbbells.
Love those. I love your toys. I really do. I mean, that's definitely an interesting addition to our line of toys. But you're right. Not giving the fire department the tools they need to do their job is like sending the police out without their guns or their handcuffs. Send them out with a cap gun. It doesn't seem right. And that doesn't come from our fire department leadership. That comes from our city council, and that comes from our mayor, because they're the ones that set the budget. They're the ones that set the tone, and they're the ones that approve the purchase of equipment. And if that equipment isn't made available, that's their fault. So remember that. It's kind of tough when we can't even have done what we need done in this city. And, we have to look at that. It's definitely becoming very interesting. Tonight will be a city council meeting, and as was alluded to earlier, Terry Sullivan, another one who goes on vacation and we lose grant money, is going to come forth and ask for what I have been told are exorbitant, very high increases in water and sewer fees of the city council. Now, didn't we just give him 2 fees just a few months ago? And now he needs fee increases again? I mean, where is this money going? How is he spending it? Are we paying for vacations to Aruba for somebody? I really have to ask myself this. And the other question is, where's the money we're supposed to be saving? Because our sewer department isn't even city employees. They're privatized. A lot of people don't know that. There's a private contractor running that. So if we're running that with a private contractor, we're supposed to save money. How come the fees keep going up? Does that say that privatization doesn't work? Because if it does, Mr. Mayor, you better look at that before you start talking about privatizing trash collection. You know, the problem we have in Fall River is we have these fireproof doors set up in our brains, and nothing gets through. Even when we talk reasonably, you don't think we are. We're not trying to be negative. We're trying to be real, and we're trying to tell you your water and your sewer bills are going to go up. And you know what the problem with that is? You can't say anything about it. Only your city council can. And if they approve that, you can thank them for an increase in taxes again. And that's a tax that is not something you can do about. It's not like you can say, I'm not going to pay it anymore, because you need water and you need sewer. And the only way around that is to dig a well and put in a septic system. And I really don't think you're going to be able to get a septic system inside the city limits of Fall River. So, and I doubt you're going to find any place to, you know, drill a well. It might be a little difficult. So, you know, think about this as you cast your ballots and you're talking to your city councilors, and give them a phone call. When you see this right away, call your city councilors and say, you don't care what Terry Sullivan says. Vote no on an increase. He just got 2. Doesn't matter what his reasons are, because you know what his reason's going to be? It's going to be another catastrophe. If we don't get it, the watershed is going to shut down, sewer is going to back up into the streets, there's going to be, you know, mayhem, and hell, the doors of hell are going to open up, and it's going to flow everywhere. Am I about right there, Chip? I don't know. I mean...
Well, you summed it up pretty well, because the fact is that what we have here is a, to quote an old movie, you know, a failure to communicate, because they failed to communicate reality here, because we don't maintain our equipment. Now there's a bond that they're going to look at to get new police cars. We have the same problem with fire apparatus. They wait until the fleet is falling apart. What do we spend our money on? What are we spending our money on? We don't maintain our school buildings. We don't maintain we run our police cars into the ground. You know, there was talk years ago, and as a matter of fact, I brought up in front of the council about fire apparatus, to have a replacement schedule where we took a small amount of money every year, set it aside, and bought apparatus or police cars and every so often. That never has been done. They just throw money away, giving people jobs, giving people pay raises, and there's no equipment. As far as privatization is concerned, you know, that's the oldest con in the world. Certain services can't be privatized. They tried it with fire departments. We see it. Certain community services like DPW, they'll come in with a low ball figure, and then they'll say this is going to be cheaper to run. Ultimately, it goes up and goes up, and then you have no control. You lose control, which the city has when it's a city department, and you end up with your trash being picked up by people from Ecuador that are working for minimum wage and don't care where the hell your trash ends up. If it's in a truck, fine. If it's on the street, fine. And, you know, the level of services go down, and the cost goes up.
True.
Time for your commentary.
Oh, yes, I know. Well, it's that time of the show, and, you know, I started out a little bit talking about the, you know, biannual casino trip. Seems we've ridden this train before. And we'll have the casino probably all this year. We'll be talking about it, and we'll be fighting for it, and we'll spend money on getting it, and it'll come to the end, and we won't see it. But right now, with this press conference from the mayor, you have half the city running around saying, oh, honey, we're getting a casino. There's going to be jobs. There's going to be jobs. We're going to do well. We're going to do well. We're going to have jobs. We're going to have jobs. Even if we get the casino, we're looking at 3 to 5 years or more. So that really probably won't happen. The mayor has set up a pipe dream for failure. $1 billion construction program in Fall River, thinking that everybody's going to benefit from it. I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't think it's going to happen. Not that I'm being negative, I mean, push for it, do whatever you can to make it happen, but the realist in me says it's not going to happen. I think it's going to go somewhere else. And if it doesn't go to Taunton, I really think it's probably going to go to Plymouth County. As was mentioned earlier, Senator Mike Rodrigues is not for a casino. As a matter of fact, he's dead set against it. So you have 1/4 of your local delegation, which is not going to actively lobby for this license. A rather powerful opponent, I would think. And you have to say, how can you put all your eggs in one basket once again? None of our citizens in Fall River are really capable at this point in time of handling some general casino jobs, except for probably cook, waiter, maid, housekeeping, those type of jobs. But I mean, dealer and auditor and bookkeeper and those jobs, we don't have a lot of people that are trained in those jobs. And that's where we should be focusing on, is the training of our students, the retraining of our unemployed on getting those people done. That's how we attract businesses to Fall River. We attract them by showing them that we have the people who have the skills to do the jobs. Not that we're going to give them a lovely site on the river, or we're going to give them a lovely site here, or a lovely site there, but we are going to give them a site where not only are they going to get the lovely side of the river, but they're going to get the lovely site of workers who have the skills. That's how we attract business. It is not government's job to create jobs. It is government's job to make the environment amenable and attractive to businesses to come to our community. And unless we do that, we will not have businesses come to our community. So with that, I want to leave you with this thought. What is better for Fall River to have? A lovely casino where nobody can work, or a city where we have the people who can do the jobs and have the skills, and have the businesses trying to knock down our door to come in?
Well, I will close by saying it's time to fix the engine, not paint the car. And our engine is government. We need to fix it, because a car with a great paint job and no engine doesn't run.
That's it. Thank you for watching. We're Spindle City Straight Talk. We're here telling it to you straight. Please join us again next time. Have a great day.
See you next week.